Hello everyone, Worm Farmer Jill here. I want to use this opportunity to show you how I build a breeder bin for my beetles. I just did a video on my breeder barn, which is here, and I noticed I got a little bit of maintenance to do, so I took the time while I was sitting here to maintenance one of these bins. And here we go, step one. I get the bin and I put just a small amount of these oatmeal on the bottom. I'll probably add a little more. This is going to be the food source for the freshly hatched little mealworms. I don't want it too thick because these bins are tapered on bottom, and I have the fence cut at the exact right size that I want it to be so that it fits in here and it's snug on the edges and in the corners. The corners are a very important part because these meal bugs, they want to go to those corners and they will pry those corners up if they can. And so I may have to come up with something in order to keep those corners, something to keep them from being able to get those corners pried up. I have this for another purpose, but maybe I will have to cut one small enough that it sits on top of the fence, holds the fence down. So they can be strong little burgers if 3 or 4 of them start working at the corner. So the next thing then I do is I'll put some more, my hair gets in the way, but more of these on top of the fence. So I'm trying to create a little bit of a weight system so that they don't lift the fence. Okay, so this is the feed for my beetles. I think the beetles eat, I'm not sure. Guess I could look into that too, because I have the black soldier fly, and then when they hatch, they don't eat. They drink water, but they don't eat. So as you'll notice, I haven't done a whole lot of research on this, but I have done enough to know that I need to keep those freshly hatched eggs safe from, apparently the adult beetles will kill them, eat them. So now I've got somewhere a substrate for the beetles to lay their eggs, and then they always like to have a little special place to hide. So see how they like to go up there and hide? I put that down in there like that, so they have a spot to go up where it's very dark. And I have more beetles here. I need to do the research on how many beetles is a good number of beetles for breeding in this area amount of space. I'm sure there's calculations on that, or if you know, please comment and educate me there. I really just spent most of my time trying to think of very convenient ways, successful ways to raise them. Now, they need a water source for sure. Part of my problem here in the beetle barn is my humidity. It is, let me show you up there, up top. If you'll look and see, we are at 78 degrees and only 30% humidity. So my humidity is a problem. Probably not getting my maximum numbers out of these oopsie breeders bins because of that. So now what I do is, this is you've probably seen it, you find it at Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, and if you have a finished basement, this goes up over where there's a light. I believe the shop light must sit right on it so you can have your lighting. Gives it a nice clean look. So I put that on there, and that's to give me an air space. So the next thing I use to help increase my humidity down in the bin, it's called chipboard. So it's cardboard that's like compressed into a piece of paper. So it's thick, but it holds together really well. So what I do is I'll soak that in water and then I'll set that on top there. So what I'm hoping for is that my beetles can come up through there and get up to their water source. There's humidity there. I'm hoping there's also a microenvironment underneath of this that's way more humid than what it's showing inside the beetle barn. I'm going to get a sensor and put it in there in that space underneath there to see what the humidity is, just because of the evaporation off of that piece of cardboard. And then what I do just to hold in more moisture is I love these super big chunky sponges. They absorb a lot of moisture too. And then I'll put that on the top, and then slowly over time that water goes, when you pick it up, you can tell the water has actually, gravity's forced it down. I mean, but what happens is it gets into this cardboard, and then it's kind of evenly distributed across the whole surface of that bin, but yet I have a gap on either side, or all sides, so that air can get through there, so we're getting plenty of oxygen. We're not going to suffocate them. I've done that before. Also, the humidity's not so great that we're going to create a lot of mold growth or those mites in there that start there. Oh boy, I tried doing the watering in the grain, you know, like where you sprinkle the water in there, and the mites went crazy. So that's the one thing I hate about the mealworms, is I've never found a super good system of keeping those mites low, besides no moisture in the grain, in the bedding. If it's very, very low, and they don't seem to go crazy. And it's why I switched over to raising them mainly in the summer, when, you know, moisture from the air would come at night and actually, I guess, rehydrate my worms. So then I just put this is wax paper over the top, so that, I mean, I'm hoping to hold more moisture down in, but I don't cover it completely, because I do want enough air going in and out of there to keep them oxygenated. I might use some parchment paper, don't know yet. This is just what I cut first off, so it worked. It does help hold some moisture a little bit. So there you have it. This is my micro environment that I'm trying to create to see if I can get enough humidity just in the air, because these mealworms supposedly can absorb moisture through their skin. So if I can get a humid enough environment, can they just live off moisture in the skin, and then I will not have to give them any food scraps or anything for them to get their water source from, besides the air, because that's what I'm finding reduces the mite load. So if you've got a lot of more detailed research results that you've done that you can help me out, you know, comment below. It helps everyone out. I don't think any of us are going to be able to raise enough of these suckers individually to really be able to put anybody out of business. It's going to be your large robotic operated systems that are going to take us over, and probably would recommend that you just not buy mealworms from a company like that. If you've got people, look out and search for people who are trying to do this locally, and see if you can, you know, buy them from them instead. Otherwise, they'll put us all out, because this is a lot of work, and I at this point haven't found it very lucrative as far as feeding my chickens. I haven't been able to get enough food for the chickens to make it worth it. I don't think my chickens can really eat. So, but on a side note, this is what I have gotten from just feeding mealworms over the summer. I get out some tubs, put the mealworms in there, load it up with hog feed, and then or just finely ground up corn and whatever wheat, whatever kind of grain you can get, and then just at the end of summer, when you get them ready, you clean up the bins to put them away for winter. I put them in bins that are really clean bins with fresh food, and then the temperature is way down in like the 40s all winter, and they just make it through it just fine. I don't do any sifting, don't do any sorting, and then in the spring bring them out, and once the weather warms up, they'll get through all that hog feed, and then they will produce all this frass. Now, I was in the past throwing away the frass because I didn't know, you know, I didn't have enough knowledge to be like, whoa, this is the product I need to be utilizing. So now I think I've researched that 1 tablespoon of this frass mixed with 1 gallon of water is perfect for a tea to feed your house plants. I actually made a big 350 gallon tank full of, it's a brew, a tea, whatever you want to call it, of protozoa, and there were the flagellates and microbes that you use to apply to your agriculture fields in order to improve the ecosystem there. And then this is also another, like I said, agriculture amendment. So this is now the reason why I'm going to push harder for more mealworm production, and so I can make this frass. And now that's part of my other video there, but it got a little long, which this one is too. Each little part takes so much time, but that was just how I build the breeder bin. This is a successful breeder bin because this is my first container that I now have. This is what I did after they hatched. I've removed them from the adults. The adults got new bedding, and then they're allowed to lay more eggs. I don't even know how long these things will stay alive laying eggs. I know one raises so many 500 worms eggs, so if I knew how many beetles was in a bin, I would know maybe how many eggs. I haven't gotten that far yet. I just got to get started, because if you just sit there and you research and you research and you research, you may just be researching forever. Get your hands going. There is a teeny tiny, oh, he is so little. He's so cute. I know the camera would not pick it up, so they're in there, and we'll see how many I get. They don't look like they're struggling for water at all. I don't know. Like I said, how much moisture does it take? It is these moisture levels that they've got online. I mean, are those accurate? And is that the only way that I'm going to be able to raise these things? Or can I come up with another plan that works just as good and doesn't promote all those darn mites? Oh, those things turn me off big time. Oh, one thing I think though too is if you got moisture that you're adding into that bin, I think they stink. I don't like the smell of these things at all, especially when I was just spraying the bedding to add moisture to feed those worms. Oh, that's not a good thing. Maybe if there wasn't as much frass, it wouldn't be as bad, but I'm still working on these to figure out the best plan that makes them something that I want to do. This is my next level that I've gone to as far as pushing all winter long to keep my population going and get more mealworms earlier in the spring, and then next summer they will just be raised the same way that I did it every other summer. You just give them the hog feed, remove your frass, leave them all summer. I don't care if they mate with these other beetles out in the environment. 1, I'm just feeding the beetles to the chickens. 2, I'm just putting the frass back out on the agriculture field. So that's my plan. Stay tuned. Every little level adds up synergetically to make more progress. So thanks for taking your time to spend the day in the life with a worm farmer. Blessings.